We're celebrating the beginning of our bicentennial. 200 years ago, the first legislature adopted a constitution. We were the 20th state in the union, so we have on display here the original American flag that had Mississippi recognized as the 20th state. And so we're going to spend the next year celebrating that. I believe very strongly that in many instances we need to quit apologizing and start bragging about the many accomplishments of people in our state. And that's something that we're going to have the opportunity to do this year, and I'm really excited about it. We're going to see a couple of regional large celebrations, one in Oxford, one in Gulfport, and then culminating with an event in December of this year in Jackson to celebrate the bicentennial. The event in Jackson will actually celebrate the opening of the Mississippi Museum of History as well as the Civil Rights Museum. And so I'm excited about those things. But we also have a grant program set up with the Mississippi Humanities Council that Katie Blount, who's head of Archives and History, talked about today, which is going to give local communities an opportunity to get grants so that they can celebrate the bicentennial in their communities across our state. So it's a real good opportunity for people across our state. That's one of the beautiful things about these grants. So it could be a celebration in a town hall. It could also be a learning opportunity in the schools across Mississippi. So there's really a wide array of things that can happen, but most importantly, I want more Mississippians to learn more about the history of our state in our bicentennial year. We have invested heavily in tourism and marketing tourism dollars, which is something we're going to continue to work with our Development Authority and the Visit Mississippi website. We're excited about those opportunities because we're seeing people not only from the other 49 states come visit Mississippi, we're seeing people from all over the globe because of our rich tradition in music, our rich tradition in other areas, whether it's our literary traditions, etc. And so we really have an opportunity to highlight our state, to showcase our state, to show the people of the world what Mississippi and Mississippians are all about.
Today, this is an exciting day for us as legislators, the state of Mississippi. 200 years ago this year, the Mississippi legislature convened for the first time in a little brick church down in Washington, Mississippi. I'm sure there were not nearly as many legislators then as there are today, but I know it was a time of great excitement for them. I'm sure they were somewhat fearful. Starting a new state, I'm sure it was very intimidating. I'm sure they were somewhat apprehensive. I'm sure they were somewhat anxious about what the future held and how they were going to shape that future. But I'm also confident that they were excited. Our state was a blank slate back then. The future was yet to be written. And I'm sure they were very excited about what the future held for them. And here we are today, very honored to be part of the legislature 200 years later. And in a lot of ways, we feel the same way. Sometimes the task before us can be daunting. Sometimes the task can be intimidating. Sometimes things can be anxious. But we're also excited. We're excited about the future of the state of Mississippi. We are able to shape the future of the state. We have been entrusted, I think, with a great responsibility. Our forefathers founded this state 200 years ago, and they've now, over the years, from one generation to the next, have passed that off to us. And now we are charged with the responsibility of continuing that tradition. And there's a lot of things about our state and our history that we're proud of, and some things that we're not. Some things we've done well, and some things we have not. But overall, Mississippians are a hardy group of people. And we continue to move forward. We continue to try to make Mississippi a great place to live and work. We've got a great state in which to raise a family. And I'm proud to be a part of the legislature here 200 years later. And I hope that 100 years from now, when we celebrate our 300-year anniversary, that they will look back and say, hey, that bunch in 2017 did a good job. That bunch in 2017 did right by the state of Mississippi. So we're here today to celebrate this occasion, kind of kick off the year. We've got an entire year of celebration planned. I think Ms. Blount's going to go over that here in a minute. And the Lieutenant Governor and I are very honored to be here today to welcome you to this reception as we celebrate and kick off our 200-year anniversary. I want to thank each of you for being here today and look forward to visiting with you here in a few minutes. I'll turn it over to the Lieutenant Governor now.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for those excellent introductory remarks. It is a a great occasion for us to celebrate 200 years of Mississippi's statehood. It's also an opportunity for us to utilize this bicentennial to brag about our state, its history, its culture, and of course its accomplishments of its people. I also think it's a great opportunity for us to learn new, interesting facts about our state's history. I am the 35th Lieutenant Governor in this, the 200th year. As you see over here, the 1817 Constitution, actually over here, the 1817 Constitution is on display. This is the document that first established the office of Lieutenant Governor, which was held originally by Revolutionary War hero Duncan Stewart, who actually lived in Woodville, Mississippi. What's interesting that our current Lieutenant Governor and our very first Lieutenant Governor both had very, very deep roots in southwest Mississippi. In fact, after Stewart, there were actually 5 other Lieutenant Governors prior to the 1832 Constitution, which actually abolished the office of Lieutenant Governor. That's a fact I did not know until actually doing some research today. Now, they abolished the office in 1832, and I must say, while things get pretty challenging around here from time to time, even sometimes get personal, even Senator Bryan has not offered an amendment to abolish the office of Lieutenant Governor, although I thought that's what his bill this morning did, but it did not. But once the office was actually put back into place, I am now serving as our 35th Lieutenant Governor. As the Speaker mentioned, to participate in this great celebration. I believe we're going to have large celebrations in places like Oxford and Jackson and Gulfport. And then also every community has an opportunity to participate in a grant program that we in the legislature created and have worked very, very closely with the Humanities Council as well as Visit Mississippi in the Mississippi Development Authority and the Governor's Office to set that up. I believe that our state is home to great sports giants, to literary legends, and never before achieved scientific breakthroughs. As many of you have heard me say before, I believe strongly that in many instances we need to stop apologizing and start bragging about Mississippi's many great accomplishments. And I think this celebration of our bicentennial is an opportunity to do just that. And so with that, I'm going to ask Katie Blunt to come forward and give you a little bit of details about these, the opportunities that exist for small communities around Mississippi, and then we'll take questions. Katie, thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much for being here. I'm Katie Blunt. I'm Director of the Mississippi Department of Archives and History and Chair of the Mississippi Bicentennial Celebration Commission. And we are so excited, after years of planning, finally to be launching the Bicentennial Celebration. As the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker mentioned, the Mississippi Humanities Council will be administering a statewide grant program that will provide funding for communities all across the state to hold bicentennial celebrations, events, educational programming. Stuart Rockoff, Director of the Humanities Council, is here if y'all have questions about that. And then there will be larger regional celebrations, one in Gulfport, one in Oxford, all culminating in the opening of the Museum of Mississippi History and the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in December of 2017 here in Jackson. Mississippi State University has created a website, ms200.org, where you can get more details about the grant program and all of the bicentennial celebrations. I've mentioned just a few of them, but there are a number of other organizations planning events and programs connected with the bicentennial. So ms200.org is a central clearinghouse for that information. As the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, the symbol of the bicentennial is the 20-star flag that flew over the United States in 1818, marking the admission of Mississippi to the Union. It is a very rare artifact. The original flag, this is a replica, the original flag, which is 10 feet by 6 feet, is in the collection of the Department of Archives and History, and we're in the midst of traveling it around the state to build up excitement about the bicentennial. Today it is at the Old Capitol, where it will be for a little while longer, and it will be joined at the end of the day by the Constitution, which is the actual 1817 Constitution. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves and Speaker Philip Gunn and all of the members of the Mississippi Legislature for their support for the Bicentennial celebration. They have provided generous funding, and we'll have a full calendar of events, both through the statewide grant program and the regional celebrations. I also want to thank the members of the Mississippi Bicentennial Celebration Commission for their leadership in planning the Bicentennial. We have a number of members of the commission with us today. I see Senator Lydia Chassenal, Cindy Phillips, Representative Carolyn Crawford is here, Representative Toby Barker, Liz Welsh, Nathan Wells, Mayor Darrell Grinnell. Y'all please raise your hands, and if I've missed anyone, I apologize. Thank you. And I want to thank Mississippi Development Authority, Visit Mississippi, Craig Ray and Mary Margaret Miller are here with us today for their leadership in executing the Bicentennial Plan. We're off now, so welcome to the Mississippi Bicentennial Celebration, and thank you very much.
This is an exciting time in the history of our state. 200 years ago, we became a state. And that, of course, was a historic event. I think all of us who are native Mississippians are proud of our heritage. We're proud of the fact that we are from Mississippi. I'm a fourth generation Mississippian, at least, maybe further back than that. And so Mississippi is who I am, and it's a part of who we are as Mississippians. And so to celebrate this is an exciting time. We want to take pride in our heritage. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but all of it combines to make us who we are today. And so we just want to make sure that this is emphasized and that people take note of the fact that this is a big time in the history of our state.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to celebrate the state of Mississippi and celebrate our great history and culture and bring in the next 200 years. This is the flag that flew over the United States in 1818, marking the admission of Mississippi to the Union. There were never very many of them because Mississippi was the 20th state, and the next year the 21st state came. The only one that we know to be extant is in the collection of the Department of Archives and History, and it is traveling around the state in celebration of the Bicentennial. Today it is at the Old Capitol Museum, and it will be in a number of other communities over the next few months, and ultimately will be in the Museum of Mississippi History, which will open alongside the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum December 9th, 2017, as the culmination of the state's Bicentennial celebration. The Gulfport is the first of the regional celebrations, and that will be held at Gulfport Centennial Plaza, and the next one will be in Oxford in June, and then the opening of the two Mississippi museums will be the third regional celebration. They'll include concerts and whatever the local people plan for those. This is a great and fun and exciting way to learn a little bit about the history of the state. You heard the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker talk a little bit about our history, and I think as we lead up to the opening of the Museum of Mississippi History and the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum, this will build excitement in the children and in all of us about our history.
We would encourage them to learn about the history of their state, learn about their ancestors, learn about the development of our state, the things that came along that made us who we are today. I think it's very important for children today, students today, to have an understanding of their heritage. I, as a legislator, found it very interesting that our legislature first convened in Washington, Mississippi. A lot of people don't know where that is. That's down near Natchez, as you can well imagine. In the early 1800s, river traffic was about the only way to get around. And so being near a river or around a river was a big deal. And so that's why Natchez, or the Natchez area, was picked. The legislature first convened in a brick church, and I'm sure they were small in number back then. But as you can tell, we've now moved into a building like we're in here today, and we've come quite a great distance. There's
a website, ms200.org, or they can call the Visit Mississippi at MDA and to find out more information. And for the grant program, it's the Mississippi Humanities Council.